Hey friends, welcome back to Nelly Sisters YouTube channel. I'm Neha Sara Nelson, and in today's video, we are going to have an interesting part. It is the continuation of the previous session, which was about the Great Indian Desert, the Thar Desert. And it was about the topic coverage, and the revelations over there was about the natural boundaries, how the Thar Desert formed, the southwest monsoon season, and the features of the Thar Desert. But in today's video, we are going to study some more elaborated and some more informations about the Thar Desert. So before going to our video, first almost like, share, subscribe and comment your ideas. So let's understand the two classifications of the Thar Desert based on their regions. So understanding both of them, they are the Marusali and the Rajasthan Bagar. So going both the classifications of Marusali and the Rajasthan Bagar, Marusali is a very sandy, expansive region, but going to the Rajasthan Baga, it is a semi-arid region. So both of there are some classifications and informations, but now we are going to the case of deflation, and over there deflation hollows, caves, mushroom rocks, abrasion and so on. So let's cover them first. So what do you mean by deflation? For an example, as the picture shows here, that a whirlwind coming from one direction hits the dry sand and lifts up the sands by the wind, and it moves the dry sand to another direction, and it is settling in one place. It is what you mean by deflation. And the process could continue again and again, and the whirlwind would go again, and the wind comes, the sand would move from there, the dry sand, and go and settle to someone else, which means the wind blows strongly, and when the whirlwind comes, the dry sand vertebrates lifts up and moves from one place to another. So this type of erosional process is what you mean by deflation. And going to the deflation hollows, as you can see in the picture, when the wind is blowing hardly and strongly and persistently in one direction, then you could see shallow depressions are formed through the deflation. These shallow depressions are called deflation hollows. I hope you understood it. It is that the strong wind of the direction is strongly and personally, which means in a very manner of coming again and again in one same direction itself and hitting in one place, is if there occurs a depression, right? That depression made by that is that through that deflation is what do you mean by the erosional process hadn't happened over there is what you mean by deflation hollows. So it is an example for the soil formed or the different types of landforms in the Thar Desert. And there are more like caves. This is also formed by the erosional process of deflation. As you can see in the picture, they are formed in rocks as a result of continuous deflation over a period of time. As we could understand the deflation hollows, there was a persistently the strong winds were arriving. But over here, the direction or the deflation over a period of time, then you could understand that the caves are formed, as you can see in the picture. Now, going and understanding the case of abrasion, you can see that a strong desert winds carry the sand grains and other rock particles over there. And what does they do? Yeah, these rub strongly against the numerous rock that outcrops and wear them down. And this is what you mean by the erosional process, abrasion. So let me make it some more clearly for you. If these type of strong winds, as I told about the deflation hollows, the strong winds from one direction, and what they say do, they carries the sand grains and some rock particles, and these rub strongly against some numerous rocks. I hope you understood right now. Yeah, they got a rubbing together with that numerous rock by the strong rubbing of the sand grains and the rock particles brought by the strong wind. The numerous rubbing against made by both of the types. There, how the rock outcrops and wear. The rock would wear and tear, right? And the wear of the rocking or that would wear them down. So this is what you call as erosional process, abrasion. So next we are gonna study is mushroom rocks. So basically, when I was speaking about the abrasion, it was the introduction for understanding the mushroom rocks. Have you ever heard the term mushroom rocks? Here you go. As you can see in the picture, the wind commonly or can only lift rocks depending on their sizes. As we could knew that if the size varies, the height also or the weight of the object also varies. Right? As the weight increases, the height decreases. Right? As much strong winds are there for needed for each of the object to fly up, to fly higher. To observe the picture deeply that the wind can only lift rocks depending on their sizes. The rate of abrasion on rocks in the desert is higher up to a certain height. As rocks wear out in this manner, the mushroom-like landforms are formed. Hope you understood it by observing the figure itself. Right? So, the numerous over there also the erosional process abrasion is taking place. The hard rubbing of the numerous rocks and the grains that by the strong winds. That is what you mean by or how these type of landforms like mushroom-like landforms are formed. So these landforms are called mushroom rocks. Hope you understood both of them. So now let's understand about the sand dunes. Most of the common verb or the term we would hear commonly while understanding or listening to the term deserts. So sand dunes, what does they mean? How do they form? So as we need to know very importantly when the velocity is decreased or when the movement of the wind is checked, over there the sand grains carried by the winds are deposited. As you can see in the image, the high velocity carrying sand goes to a decreasing over there. In the decrease in velocity, the sands get deposited. So this is what you could say that erosional process from one place to another. Am I right? This is what you mean by sand dunes. And now, as you can see, the deposited sand grains they gradually pile up and form various depositional landforms. You can see a number of landforms over here. So let's understand all of them. They got different types, different size, and they vary. Am I right? And the sand dunes, these landforms are sand dunes. But these landforms and dunes are loose mound of sand formed due to depositional process of wind. So they are loosely mounted sands. As we knew that sand is something like a usually used and this is what you mean by it. Going to the examples of them, the first one is birchens, a crescent shaped sand dunes. As you can see that it is crescently shaped sand dune. Over here, the next one is parabolic sand dunes. You could see in the image, this is what you mean by parabolic sand dune. Going to the next one, it is the longitudinal dunes. So the longitudinal dunes are looking something like our longitudes. This is the way why they are named like that. And the next one is linear sand dunes. As you could say, they all having an elevation or looking of linear. So you could think like that to memorize or to understand all of this. But the correct concept you need to understand all of it should be clear and clarified. As you can see, longitudinal and linear. Don't get confused of both of them, okay? So understand and study which would not make you or let you go wrong. Going to the transverse dunes, as you can see, the location of the sand dunes change depending in the direction and velocity of the wind. And now these are the different types of examples of sand dunes, which was our last landform of the Thar Desert. Now let's understand a new term for you. It is the oasis. Oases are the fertile patches in deserts. It is formed because of the presence of fresh water source. They originate either of natural springs and or the other way through the groundwater sources. So all of their oases vary in size. So mainly because of these oases like cottons and various citrus plants and fruit plants, wheat and corn are commonly cultivated because of in many oases. And next one I want to show what we were able to share you in today's video. So let's see in the next video with the flora and fauna and the human survival of the people in the Thar Desert, who, how they have in the handicrafts handle them or how they live over there, new type of projects or things, and so many things more about the Thar Desert, which would be our last session, and don't miss it. And as I said in the first of the video, we would understand about the Marstili and the Rajasthan Baga. So let me just make you informative of about them. So the Marstili is a very vast expanse of sand. So compared over there, it's composed of gneiss, granite and schist. And they prove that the bedrocks prove that it is the northwestern part of the extension of the peninsula plateau. And going there, the average elevation of the Marstili is about 200 and 250 meters above the main sea level. And we could understand that both the eastern part and the western part differ of the Marstili plain. The Marstili. Why? What is the difference between both of them? In the eastern part it is rocky, but in the western parts, shifting dunes are arriving over there. So they are locally called as Dhriyan. And now going to the Rajasthan Bhaga, it is important that they are semi-arid plains. It is in the eastern part of the Thar Desert. And we need to know that it is semi-arid, which means how it is drained. It is drained because of several rivers that originate from the Aravalli mountain ranges. The rivers makes the agriculture possible, and some particles or the patches of fertile tracts called as Rohi. And now the most significant river over there is Luni, and it flows towards the Rann of Kutch, which is the natural boundary of the Thar Desert's south. Okay, and now going that, it is very important that the region has several salt lakes. So Sambar Lake, it is about 65 kilometers west of Jaipur. It occupies an area of 225 kilometers square during the rainy season, and it strings in the summer season. As we knew that it is a salty river, it would shrink in the summer season because of the evaporation. And Didwana, the Sargol and Katu are important lakes. And going through, it is extensively used for the salt production. So this is a whole video that we plan to have a video of today. I hope you got the video informative. Let's see the next video. I'm Neha Sara Nelson and you're watching the latest YouTube channel. Subscribe and thank you for watching. Comment your ideas, share with your friends. Let them be also informative and share with them. Thank you and have a nice day.